So we're back for part 2 of our cuffing season episode this year. Cuffing season will be something that I don't know how long I'll talk about it, but I really think it's important. And I think this part 2 will finish the conversation and give you some really meaty things to think about and some things to actually concentrate and write down. Develop your core values. Develop your love, how you feel love. Learn that by dating yourself. Do something different. But anyhow, this is just the intro. So I want you to stay tuned, take some notes. So let's get ready, get set, let's go. A family core value that I have that's super important to me. She must embrace my daughters as her own.
Absolutely.
That's something super important to me. I would never allow my daughter to disrespect any woman that I'm with.
That's right.
But I want her to know that they're like her. They're not listening. They're not replacing her mom by no means. That's
right.
not what I mean.
Right.
I mean that I want her to know, like her. I want her to treat my daughters as if they're hers.
That's right.
You know, and same thing with me. I have that. If she had kids, I'm going to treat her kids just like they're mine. So that's something that you have to make sure I need to communicate that, because all women, women that get, especially with daughters, and they got a man, they meet a man, he got daughters, they automatically get jealous of the daughters. Well, you do more for your daughters than you do me. What are you talking about? You know.
You know, it's funny that you said that, and it just made me, something really fell on me, is when we found out that, when I found out I was going to be a grandmother, you know, my son had called and said, "Hey, Mom, she's pregnant, yada, yada, yada." So I told my husband, I said, "We're going to be grandparents." And he said, "No, you're going to be a grandparent."
Wow.
And he would say that every time that the baby was mentioned or anything was mentioned, "Okay, Grandma, it's going to be on you." And that was one of the things that was like, yeah, I know this is not over for me.
Because it's,
how do you not?
how the two become one if I don't take on what you have?
But I've accepted your children
Right.
with no hesitation.
Yeah.
But you had that comment about my grandchild. No,
Right.
we ain't doing that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I would have to say my love for Chris has increased because of the love he has for my children. And
Absolutely.
knowing that he didn't have to take that on,
Right.
the responsibility, because even sometimes I'll say something, he be like, "Be easy." I'm like, what?
Then she come and
No,
say, "You know this one you gonna say."
No, and Anisha will tell you, he is funny when it comes down to my children,
Yes,
about
he
their
is.
well-being,
He is.
and to see a man actually love your children, and they're not his biological children, it increases your love, and I'm just so grateful. You know, you always hear the package deal, but it doesn't always happen like that.
Right,
You know,
right.
and when I say I'm so grateful, because for me that was something that I prayed about. I was like, "Look here, Lord, you know, y'all go with those sophisticated prayers
Nah, I
to
don't.
God," but I'm like,
You know,
"Look
we be
here,
like,
Lord,
"All right, here's the
look,
deal."
Look, when I get married, if he don't love my children, all 3 of them."
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, we got a lot going on over here in this house. All these shenanigans, but he has a relationship with all of my children, a different relationship. Of course, it's always the school. And, you know, side, you know, they could have men's talks. He brings something as a woman that I still don't bring, and he's not
Right.
replacing their fathers, you know. So I'm just grateful for that. So I agree with you. If you don't love my
Wholeheartedly,
children, there
yes.
ain't gonna be no kind of party
I
over
know.
here.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna love his children too. You know, I guess my children are younger, they're minors, and his children are grown. But I respect his children. You know, I'm not jealous if he's like, if we're on the phone, "Oh, my son calls," I don't get upset.
Right.
Right, right.
Or if he's chilling with his children, or, you know, I don't get upset. And if you're in a relationship, you should want that man or that woman, if they have previous children, to honor those children.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's sidebar. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great
That's good stuff.
because we need to hear that. Because family, if we let people, if we start off like that, it's not going to get better.
That's right.
And if we got an issue with that, we need to see what the issue is before we even go with a next step. Because I can't. My daughters will not disrespect anybody because I don't believe you should. I think there's an umbrella. We talk about this a lot. There's a guy, husband, wife, kids are up under the wire. So I think whenever we move that umbrella and switch them, I think that something happens. And I think we're out of order, and that's why we start having more problems.
Yep.
If we get out of order, if the man is not under God, if he's not submitting to God, you're gonna have some issues, you know, so we have to make sure that we keep that right. And I know that when you being joining as one, especially when you got combined, you got the Brady Bunch, that's what I'm gonna call it. So when you got the Brady Bunch coming, it's hard because you feel like you have to fight for your kids, but it shouldn't be, because we should know that this is if you love your kids, that love should come through me also. I should treat your kids like you should.
Right.
That's,
And you know, sometimes it's not as easy because the kids want to reject it, but once you put up that solidified front, the kids are falling in line.
and teaching your children they can't manipulate
Yep.
one
Exactly.
another.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know, you're a united front
Yep.
because you're strong, so they can't come to one and manipulate the other.
And women, it's mostly women for me. That my children come before my husband's stuff, that mess is you're so wrong.
Unlearn
Mess is
that.
so dysfunctional. Your children do not, if you have a husband, your children do not come first.
Yeah.
If you single, yeah, you can put they shouldn't come before you if you're single.
Right.
But when you married, that's a lie. That's a lie. And we've been taught that nonsense, and that's what it is.
Because this is-
Dysfunctional nonsense.
But this is the thing. If you do that, if you put your husband first, he's not gonna make you choose between you and your kids.
No.
And so, because he knows that you respect, he see you respecting that boundary, and so he's not gonna put you in a position to do that.
Right.
I mean, because men, if they don't know nothing else, they know how women are about their kids. But if I see my woman submitting to, like, you know, now my kids don't come before, I'm not gonna never put in a position to do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to, sometimes you letting go of something and you end up getting what you want.
Right.
That's how God works.
That is so true.
So a relational core value I got, that's gonna be sounding funny coming from me, but I really value quality time.
Yes.
I do a lot and I'm busy,
Yeah, you
but
Show up.
You are.
when we got time together, I want it to be quality. Cause I believe my wife will be, if not busier than me, as busy. But when we got time, it's quality. It ain't just we sitting, even if it is sitting there watching TV, it ain't that we just in each other's company. I want it to be quality time. So one of my relationships, and the reason I'm giving you these examples is because this is what you need to be working on instead of being in these raggedy covenant season relationships. Because that's what they are. You need to know this. And if you can't say what some of your core values is, that means you are not ready. Sit down somewhere and sis.
You still
Bruh.
don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
But the quality time was one of your love language.
Yeah.
And many of us, we want to go into a relationship and we don't know
Don't even know.
our love
Exactly.
language. What we really, what makes us happy. And see, you said quality time, and it's not so much of when you have quality time, it's not so much as having hours or days, as that's the quantity. Where
Right.
you have the much, but the quality is just, you know, you could be doing anything, going for a walk. You know, it may be like sitting watching TV or doing something special, having a date tonight, but you capitalize on that time together.
Right.
So just knowing what you need from the other person and being able to express that. See, you'll be able, when you go into a relationship, you'll be able to like, look, this is what I need. I need quality time. I don't need a whole bunch of gifts, even though they're nice,
Yeah.
and I'll appreciate them. But I need that quality time.
Yeah.
You know.
For me, I need quality time, but I need reassurance, and I do know that part of that is because of the trauma and I don't have a sense of family support and love and stuff. So my husband is he's gonna have to give me a lot of reassurance.
Right.
I'm working on it.
What is that called? It's an affirmation.
That's
What's
affirmation.
what love-
affirmations. The
Yeah.
affirmations.
And I honestly think almost every man needs that to a point. Even though quality time is my key thing, because I'm busy and I know my business is not gonna stop, but I know that I want to be able. That's why I know my wife has got to be part of my vision, because I'm gonna be doing a lot, and I want to be able to like sit down. And even with my friends, I've asked God to put people around me that can always be Tyrone. I don't have to put on a front, you know. So even not necessarily a front, but I don't have to be this person. I can be me. I can laugh. I can joke. I don't have to live up to all these expectations all the time, because once you gain a level of authority, let's say if you president, people look at you different.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to go around my folks, and I ain't got to be president. You know what I
One
mean?
thing about it is,
Yeah, you know, so.
when I'm comfortable,
Yeah.
I'm super silly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking
And I
about.
wanna
Because
be
that's
able to
me. I
be
want to be able to laugh, cut the
Yes.
food, and have a good time. Like, I didn't know the president acted like that.
Yes.
No, that's how I act when I'm with my peoples. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
We cut up.
yeah.
Yes.
So I ask God to put me around people that I can do that with, because sometimes when you fulfill certain stuff, you can't be. Everybody don't deserve to have access to every part of you.
Right.
That's so true.
Right.
Mm.
So you got to learn to pick your tribe. That's like, these my people, and we finna act the fool.
Absolutely. Just like the three of us.
I ain't got. If I'm in here, if you president, you ain't got to worry about nobody in here with a camera trying to film
Right.
you. To
Right.
set you out. Like, look, this how he really is. You're like, nah, you reach your people.
Oh, we already knew that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And I think your people help keep you humble
Around
too. You know what I'm saying? They keep you in a spot. They're like, man, you know what? And no matter how high I go, I'm still gonna be Tyrone to each other. Like, I ain't calling you no pastor, you Tyrone. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's like,
Yep.
I think that's important. And I want my wife to have the same. I want her to have a level of respect for me, but I want her to always let me know, like, you can always be Tyrone with me.
Right.
I think that's important. That's why quality time is important to me, because she getting to know me, she getting to understand how I am, and she'll let me be who I need to be. So I know that's my top. But I think we need to know all this stuff.
Right.
If we go in these relationships or try to, we don't know nothing about it. That's the reason why most people don't feel love, because they don't know what it is they need to be feeling now. You don't feel love if you don't know what you need. You go in there, and this guy, his thing is giving gifts. And he wants to send you flowers every day. And every woman don't want flowers. You got to learn that.
I like
you know.
dinner and vacation. You can keep your flowers. I'll take them, but
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because I want to do that, don't mean that's what she wants.
Right.
And so you have to take the time to learn somebody. Just because you did it in a previous relationship, don't mean it works in this relationship.
That's so
So
true.
are we willing to grow? I think with me is, I want somebody who naturally quality time with that thing. They don't need a lot of my time, but when they got it, they want it. Like,
and we,
cut
like
that,
you said, we capitalize on it.
yeah,
Like,
cut that phone off. You be,
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I don't want us to be sitting in there. We can be sitting in the same room, but you on your phone and I'm on mine. No,
can't do that.
unless we showing each other something.
right.
No, I don't want that.
Like, nah, that ain't quality
I want
time.
us to be enjoying and interacting with each other.
Yes, enjoying your. It's
Yeah.
like when I sit with the Lord, I enjoy His presence. I want to do that with my wife. I don't want to just be like you said on the phone. We in the same room, but we stay together all day, but we on the phone like this the whole while.
Or you see these, like, people that's been together, Lord Jesus, me and my mom just talked about this. People been together 30 or 40 years, and the wife is home, well, they're both home, but the husband stay outside all day because he don't want to be bothered with the wife. I don't want that kind of
Me
nonsense.
either. That's nonsense. That's foolishness. I think another core value for me, and I guess it can be a self core value. I need alone time.
Yes.
I
need
need my alone time, and I don't need you to get in your feelings when I need it.
Right.
I mean, it's not you.
Right.
It's that I need a long time to recharge.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that recharge moment.
So,
I have something to say about quality time, and it was funny. Chris is a truck driver. He drives long distance trucks, and I do a lot. I'm busy, and I had an event to go to, but it was his weekend where he was home. And he was like, "You do the church thing all the time. Can't we go somewhere?" I was like, "But I had this event." Y'all know I planned to a T. I was like, but it was on my calendar and I had this event. He was like, but I'm only here. We do the family time. You do the church thing. You're faithful. You're loyal to all the things. Can't you just take this Saturday? And I was like, in my feelings, because this was already planned and I had
talked her through this.
and I had already committed to this, but I don't want us to get so caught up into sometimes when we're in relationships, we miss out on that quality time because we have scheduling. So I had to learn, okay.
She did. She got first step. I did it.
You
I'm
did.
I'm trying to do better about scheduling.
Yeah.
Things like, okay, so when I know it's his weekend, that he's gonna be in town, I try to do better. You know, every now and then, some things come up that I can't. But, I'm like, this is weekend, I know he's gonna wanna go this place,
Right.
because he's big on that quality time from being on the road, and, you know, and I try to honor that, and that was something that I also thought about. A lot of times, wives, they may be in the church, and their husbands aren't in the church. And, you know, you can't go to church,
Right.
and then you forget about your home. You know, your home has to be your first ministry.
Absolutely. You said that.
That's a whole truth.
Yes.
And I don't think everybody shares that value because we feel like we putting God is not just church. So don't let these people fool you.
Yeah.
If you got to do something with your husband or wife, it's fine. Church is gonna go on. Don't get caught up in the hype, because what we can do is make a God of church. And then you're mad because your husband out, somebody else is showing some attention, or you know, same thing with men. Don't, you know, try not get to a point that you honor some time with your wife. Set some time, purposely set time aside for her, because we can get caught up being busy all the time and not really put her where she need to be at. And so then it gives space for other entertaining thoughts of other people.
Absolutely.
We have to make sure that we put certain stuff first. And I think in a marriage, it's our first ministry. That's the first thing you have to be. If you can't lead your marriage well, I don't see how you lead other people well.
That's right.
So anyway, them were mine. I know y'all kind of shot some of y'all's in between, but if y'all want to go a little bit deeper, y'all can. Or we can go to the next
We can
question.
go to the next question.
Yes, this is the one that y'all were trying to get to. How important are our preference and our selection process?
Let me start by saying this. If you know me, you know ain't nothing better than me than chocolate, baby. If you ain't chocolate, I don't usually look. However, after some evaluation and some healing, I have come to realize that my preference has not done me any justice.
Tell me about
So I may need to be open to caramel or vanilla or something.
What is
Chocolate has not really been successful for me. Now that's probably gonna always be my preference, but I need to be open to something else.
Yeah, I believe that, because so, and I don't really need this for that. I think about our preferences. I think in our singleness, our preferences become a prison for us. They become a place that we stay locked in, because once we don't see it, and it's like something else I learned about preferences. Don't have a preference for somebody that you can't meet.
Okay, now be who you expect people to be.
And it's
Hey,
like,
That's
That's
good.
good.
You know,
Yes.
I can't expect my wife to be Jessica Rabbit when I call myself pudgy. I'm pudgy. I can't expect that. You know what I mean? So it's like, but people live and stand on certain stuff and won't move off of it. Have these crazy expectations of somebody that they can't even meet themselves. That's why I said I always make sure I tell people everybody got a red flag, because you have well, he can't do this, she can't be that, she can't. Negro. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Well, you said Negro, that's appropriate.
Well, okay.
It could have been worse.
Don't do that, because you can't even meet your own expectations.
It's crazy you said that, because I was just reading some comments the other day where they were women and men, they had these usual spats, and these guys had these expectations, these 10, these 10 rated 10 women, and these ladies was like, but your stomach hanging to the floor. This, but you want somebody perfect. Like, yeah, we got to get away from all that.
Yeah,
that kind
you
of
got
stuff.
to. I mean, it's not healthy for us. So I believe with preferences, what I've learned to do is my physical preference, I push them down a little bit on my list. I still got a couple in my top 5, but my top 3 need to be carried.
Absolutely.
Because that's what's going to maintain the relationship. If we don't learn to do that, then our preferences will always drive us in a direction we don't want to go.
Right.
That's
I
right.
agree.
I will say this. I don't believe God's going to give you somebody that you going to wake up in the middle of the night and scream.
Yeah,
I
don't believe that. I'm not that spiritual. That I don't believe that
I
either.
just don't believe that, like, you gonna be scared in the middle of the night when you wake up. I just don't believe that. So I do believe He will give you some of your preferences, and you will be attracted to your God-given mate. I do believe that with all my heart. But sometimes Now, I'm a chocolate lover myself. But, what,
She got choked up over this.
She really looks. Woo! Shout out to my best friend Chris. Shout out to my best friend. The boy, you done it, man. She on there stuck.
Yes.
thank you, Lord. Thank you, God.
My boy.
But I really do believe that sometimes we'll get stuck on our preference, and sometimes we'll pass up somebody that was meant for us, that was good. Just like some women, they always want tall men, you know, but that short man or that average height man that's 5'9", he may be a good man. That tall man may be
I
the
take
heck out of him,
5'9" because I'm
you
only
know.
5'3".
So
Oh,
sometimes I think, you know, we should just, you know, one, I'm a believer that, for me, I had to seek God, you know,
Absolutely.
and I told God what I wanted. I was
Right.
very specific in my prayers,
Me
you
too.
know, but I think a lot of times, sometimes because we're so stuck on our preference, we want the chocolate, the bald-headed, the beard, and all this, that we may pass up somebody that has hair. And he may be that person that treats you well, that loves you well, and, yeah.
That's true.
It is.
That's true.
Our physical preferences will put us, I'm telling you, it'll put us in a car and we go the direction we want to. I believe that because I've experienced it. You know, you will
Absolutely.
pass up people that probably were good for you, but just because they didn't meet your preferences, and I'm not super spiritual about it.
Right.
I do believe you need to be attractive.
Yes.
Something you
What
need
we
to find.
say, lust, like, and love.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like-
I believe that. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to be with somebody that you don't find attractive.
Right.
But I will tell you to challenge why you're attracted to the people that you are.
That's true.
Because, you know, some women like guys that roughnecks. You know, they like the Timbs, the jeans, and, you know, some people like well-dressed men. You know, and that can be preferences. There's nothing wrong with that. But why do you have that preference? You know, I like a well-balanced woman in the way she dresses. I don't want to see her dressed up all the time. I want her to be able to be a little street. I like that little balance in there.
Yeah.
I just do. Because I'm like that, you know, so
Yeah.
I like that with
Yeah.
my woman, but is that something I won't marry? But I'm gonna tell you why I have that, because I think in my mind, and it's just coming to me, so it's fresh off the press, but in my mind, a woman who dresses up all the time has this, it makes me think that, you know, she feel like she's always got to be professional all the time. I don't like that, because I need you to be able to be unwind and be yourself. You know, so I think that's why, and that really just come to me like why I think that, because I think women who, they feel like they always got to present themselves as professional. I don't need that. I need to see who you are. I don't need your professional side, especially when we're in a relationship. I don't need that professional side. I don't want it.
But what about just like the role that God has given you? You deal with different types of people in different areas. Just even let me think. Like when we did the what was it? When we did the cookout that thing.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that June the 4th,
Mhm.
when we did that at the barbershop. I mean, if your wife is all professional, that
Yeah.
wasn't a day to be
It
professional.
wasn't. It was.
You know, that's a day we were getting gritty, dirty, and we're serving, and you know, so sometimes you just gotta flow with the different areas and the different environments you're gonna be in, and sometimes the way we're dressed, people don't receive us all the time. So I think that's
Yeah, that's
important.
true. And I was sitting here thinking, I remember, y'all know me, t-shirt, jeans, sneakers, Timbs. That's what I prefer. I have to dress up for work. I don't want, when I'm home, I don't think I should have to dress up. If we're gonna go on a date, say that. But I remember being told, I want you in tight dresses, skimpy. Like, first of all, I'm not comfortable in that. Why you want me in that? And then, let's be real. I am 5'3" and 252 pounds. I don't need to be wearing some of that stuff. Now, your partner should want you to be comfortable, and they should want you to look appropriate. But
Right.
let's be realistic about some stuff.
Yeah, I think sometimes men can push certain stuff. Like I don't want to push my opinion on my wife. I want her to be who she is.
And the thing about it is, if you treated me accordingly and you're loving me correctly,
Right.
it's gonna fall into place.
Oh, yeah.
That dress you want me to wear and those heels you want me to put on, oh,
Right.
they're coming. You ain't gonna have to
Yeah.
worry about
Right.
it. You won't have to say a word.
Mm-hmm.
You'll
Yeah.
get that.
Oh yeah, that's true. I believe it's true. I think, and I kind of lost my thought what I was gonna do, but I just think our preferences when we really stuck on them, it's like I said, we talking about, sometimes, because I used to call myself a pretty boy, I would dress the part, but I won't doing this mess in the streets because I won't go to jail.
Exactly.
Not my thing. But, when I'm in other environments, I know how to carry myself. I mean, I know how to wear a suit. You know what I'm saying? I can do that. But with me, and that's where I was going at. That's the important, the man knowing the vision for his life that God has for him. Because he know how to pick his wife. Like you just said, I know I'm going to be in different rooms and different things. And I know my wife's going to have to be able to carry herself the same way. She's going to be able to have to move in different rooms. She can't be uncomfortable when we at a ball. And she can't be uncomfortable when we out in the street serving people in the public. You know what I'm saying? So I know that. I know that's my call. And so I have to have a wife that's able to do that. And so that's why it's so important as a man to know the vision for his life. He knows what kind of wife he needs. And so that's what we need to be doing. Instead of being in a cuffing season relationship, we need to be sitting down, especially men. Men, look, you need a vision. Your vision is not always just getting up and going to work. You need a vision for your family. You need a vision for your relationship. You need a vision for your kids. And you need a vision big enough that they can all grow into it. Really, I think a God-given vision, you always look at it, I can't never really get there. So you always striving to keep working on, the relationship. Reason why, and I go back to quality time because it's big for me because I feel like I want to have a relationship with my wife that we sitting on the couch and we having a conversation without words. To me, that is so dope to me, because that's really how I interact with God. It's like I'm sitting, whatever. If I'm laying on the couch, I'm not always on my knees. Matter of fact,
Absolutely.
I very rarely pray on my knees.
Right.
It's not
Absolutely.
me.
I'm with you.
I sit in the chair. I'm going down the road driving, and I'm talking to God. I
Ooh,
mean, that's how.
those car conversations
Yes,
be the dopest with the Lord.
Yes.
That's dope. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm not real churchy. I hadn't learned that. And God meets me where I'm at.
Exactly.
It's in the car, in the couch, cleaning up sometimes.
In the bed,
Yes.
laying down, you're supposed to be sleeping, you talking to God.
Right. And so, we got to learn to, I think me having that kind of relationship with my wife, I got to grow into that. I think it'll take some time to get in that. But I'm willing to do the work because I know how it is when I'm with God in that kind of relationship and the intimacy we have. And so it's like, I want to get to that point with my wife. And so quality time is
You
big
just
for
said
me.
the key word, intimacy.
Yeah.
That's a learning curve.
Yeah. To be able to think, my husband, okay, this joker always leaving his wallet somewhere, and he done left it laying here, let me go put it so he gonna find it. Little stuff like that. Some people overlook it,
Yeah.
but that lets you know your wife paying attention.
Paying attention
Right.
to it.
It's like, boy, instead of fussing with you, boy, you always somewhere leaving something somewhere. No, I'm gonna put it somewhere where you find it.
I got you.
Yeah.
That says I got you.
Baby, I left my towel. Here it is. You know what I'm saying? But, and I think men should do the same with their wives. It's like one of the things that God has shown me about my daughter is that she's a leader for one, and she's very opinionated. But there are times that she's mad and she's frustrated, and God has taught me to just bring her close and hold her. You know what I'm saying? It's like just hold her to make her stay there for a minute so she can let it go. And that's some of the stuff like with your wife. When you see your wife frustrated about something, sometimes you might just need to do that.
I agree.
Just,
You don't have to say a word.
I don't feel like doing that. Shh, be quiet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but I think it takes time, and we don't go on a relationship with that goal. We go on a relationship with the goal that what I need, I get me. But I'm going in a relationship with it because this will be the first time I go in a relationship that I really are trying to put the person that I'm going to be in a relationship with first instead of what I want first. So it's a different perspective, and I'm sure we got way off of where we're supposed to be. how important our preferences into our selection process. But I mean, really, I think the conversation is really telling you what your preferences should be. We should value some character higher than we do some of our physical preferences.
Right.
And I'm not super religious thinking that physical don't matter, because it does. But you have to question why you
Right.
like that. You know, some men like women that are a little more hood. But why? Because most of them, the reason what you like about them is toxic. Because it ain't just the dress, it comes with a attitude. Which, you know me, I like my woman with a little bit of fire. I just do. Because I'm laid back. And I know I don't need another laid back woman. I need somebody that got some fire. And I really like it. And I don't want it to be argumentative. But I like for you to give your opinion, because I
Right.
want to be able to have a woman that has enough wisdom that I can value her opinion. And so I question that. I even have questioned that. Why do I like that? But it's because I know I'm laid back. And sometimes I can let some stuff walk that she ain't gonna let walk.
And that's definitely, I can agree with that. I don't need somebody as outgoing and outspoken as I am. I
Yeah.
need somebody that's some chill.
Yeah.
Somebody,
'Cause
like you said, can bring me in and bring me
Yeah.
down a little bit. Tone me down.
Baby,
Yes.
this is not the time.
Yes.
I'm with you, but
Absolutely.
not here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
guess I needed the opposite.
You got it too. You got it. Woo, I be having to bring him in. Best friend. But yeah.
Because I am laid back
Yeah.
and I'm the peacemaker and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. You got your
So
balance.
I feel like there's a balance
Yeah,
in relationships.
absolutely.
It should be a balance.
Yeah.
You know, I look at sometimes where I'm weak at, he's strong at,
Mhm.
and vice versa.
You know what I love about him is because she gets so busy and because she gets so wrapped up in
Mhm.
everybody else, he checks her. He
Right.
checks her. He said, "You need to take care of you."
Right.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
She
that's
hated
good.
it, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And she'll call me and say, "Well, he said something. He right.
Yeah.
You got to take care of yourself, Francis."
That's it.
That's right. I love
That's
it.
the truth.
And here's the crazy thing. He was like, you know, when we get married, I don't mind telling him.
He
But
does
see,
it. He
but
does.
that's the part that I'm talking about, the balance.
You
Because
know, and
he-
I would never,
He knows that.
I was like, for real? He was like, I don't mind telling
Yeah.
him.
He does.
Because you mine.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
So, that's crazy to me, but it's such a balance.
But you know that's an area you need growth in.
Yeah.
And he's gonna help you grow in that
Yeah.
area. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that even the Lord showed me about money. Like, she gonna protect you from you.
Yeah.
You can't say no, but she will be able to. You know.
And see, the funny thing about it was the Lord had already prepared me because he was like, you know, there's gonna be times he gonna say stuff that you ain't gonna like, and you're gonna get your feelings and you're gonna pout, but you're gonna need to listen to me.
Mhm.
So he had already prepared me for it, and I was like, man, he right.
That's a good point. That's a good point though. Oh, that's such a good point. When it's your season, God will start preparing you for your mate. That's a good transition to the reason why we don't need to be in covenant season. That's
Exactly.
it. When it's time, God will start preparing you for your mate by teaching you the things about your mate and the things about you that you need to grow in. That he can, okay, he's gonna be like this. She's gonna be like that. But you need that. Like
Absolutely.
you need that. You need that fire. Like, nah, this is my husband. He's not about to do that. You're gonna get your. That's the one
And,
thing I
and,
love.
and let me tell you why all that is beneficial. Because you get, this is my experience, you get people speaking in your spouse's ear against you,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are issues in your marriage. And I'm
Right.
saying, people will say, well, you can't tell a grown person what to do, but there are some people that are so weak that they will listen to somebody else instead of listening to you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true.
And then you get problems in your marriage because your spouse don't have the common sense or the strength to say, hey, look, what we got going on in here is between she and I, or him and I.
Yeah.
And then you got people in their ear constantly telling them this, and this, and this, and they listen
Mhm.
instead of working things out with
Yeah.
their spouse, with you. It's
I
crazy.
mean, it is. And I tell you, one of the relationships I really see this work at, and I get to see it firsthand a lot because they close to me. My pastor and his wife, they are two opposite ends of the spectrum. He's probably more wired like me, is giving and doing stuff, but she'll slap some brakes on stuff. Right? I love that. And I really, when I see her, it's like God is showing me like that's how your wife is going to have to be because free giver. You have a mercy gift. You love to help people, and you will help people to the detriment of
Yeah.
who you are. And so your wife was like, no, these are the boundaries.
Yep. Yeah.
You gonna go by these boundaries, and because I'm looking out for you. I'm looking out for you. This is your boundary. You're gonna go by. And so and I think, that's why you need to know your weaknesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I need to know that, so now I could fight that, but God put her in my life to help me with that. You know, and so if I'm not think it's an area of weakness, I'm like, nah, you just trying to keep me from people. You know, I was called to this before I met you. I could be like that. But God is like, nah, bro, you doing the most.
Exactly.
Sit down somewhere, because I need you to be healthy and whole. So I believe as leaders of anything, we should not always be pouring. I feel like some people should
Somebody
come
has
over
to
the.
pour into you sometimes.
They got to pour on us, but we got to learn to give people out of our overflow, because the overflow ain't taken away from us.
Yeah.
Right.
And what happened is you keep giving, you pass your overflow, then you pour, and you keep pouring, and now you empty, and now you no good to anybody,
Right.
because we won't sit still because we so busy. Like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with going fishing. There's nothing wrong with sitting there going out on date night, because it's refueling you, because the people around you really are the people who pour into you.
That's right.
And so, you know, if you get in an environment of people, and we've been out here a long time.
We got a lot of content.
It just hit me like,
I was
what?
just letting you know. It's good. You know how to edit and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
make different ones.
Yeah, oh my God, boy. But I just feel like our cuffing season is for that. You got to know what you need, not what you
Yes.
want. You got to know what you need in your
Yes.
spouse. And you don't know that bouncing around from one person to the
To
next,
another one.
not doing
Never
no
taking a
healing.
break, yeah.
I mean, what in the world? If
So-
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, just summing that up, your cuffing season should be a detox and healing
It
season.
is.
It should.
That's-
Detox, learning, and healing.
Yeah.
It should. I will say one point, before you conclude it, Tyrone. I will say, before this relationship, I took time to myself. I took off from relationship. I learned a lot about myself. I healed. And I will say, this has been the happiest relationship I've ever been
Right.
in. Because I think I took that time to know myself
Yep.
and to heal.
All right.
And also to learn my weaknesses and
Yeah.
what I need.
Absolutely.
Your weaknesses don't mean you bad.
Right.
That's what we got to realize. And I think we have such an era of perfection. That's why we don't never want to see nobody see us in our bad times. That's why we don't want nobody to see us struggling. We won't tell nobody we struggling with stuff, because we always want to present the perfect person to somebody. And what I've learned that nobody's perfect.
Amen.
Absolutely.
God shows us that. We're not perfect. We're saved by His grace and His mercy. And because He loves us. He loves us whether we do or we don't. And I'm reminded of that because when Jesus was on the cross, there was a thief on the side of him, and He announced who Jesus was, and He said, at this moment, you will be in my kingdom. That man didn't have no time to do no works. He didn't have time to get baptized.
Nope.
He didn't have time to do none of this stuff that we'll put before our relationship with God. But salvation is instant. Jesus told him, man, he would see him in His kingdom. And so we have to realize we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to perform. If you with the right person, they have a level of unconditional love with you. And so you feel comfortable in that relationship, so you can grow and work through your areas. Because I even believe, even in relationships, once we get in them, there's still a level of healing that comes in the
Absolutely.
relationship.
Absolutely.
To me, you should be healed to the point that you're healthy. And healthy is knowing who you are, knowing who you ain't, understanding some of your weaknesses, so you working towards them weaknesses. So that's what helps. So then your cuffing season. You want to say something?
No, I was just dealing. You were saying something about going into the relationship for healing, because it's going to be a point. Because if it's really healthy, it'll be good for you both to heal, to continue that healing together.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And so we want to wrap this up, and we just want to tell you, instead of venturing into an unhealthy cuffing season relationship, take the time to detox before you go do any of this stuff. Find out what you need to deal with. Start healing process, because the healing process can be long. Be willing to sit still in this time. Don't get discouraged. Find you some friends. Learn to be friends. I say this a lot. Learn to be friends with people of the opposite sex without wanting them. Because you need to kill the flesh, because you're always going to be around other people. And the one thing that I can tell you that's true, if you're attracted to somebody, it never really goes away. You learn to submit that attraction
Right.
because you're in a relationship. So I've heard people, and maybe it's true for them, you know, when I'm in a relationship, I don't see nobody but you. Maybe that's true for you. Not for me. I still see them, but I know that I am faithful to the person that I'm with.
Absolutely.
And so it don't matter what they look like. And so you have to make sure that you heal to the point that that stuff don't always be pulling on you. Because you know, you can get to a point that you always can desire something. You know, you can be lusting after something all the time, but you have to learn to be and being bored, there's nothing wrong with that. If you learn to do that in your single season, you won't have all these expectations of all these, we go on a trip every month, we go to Spain or something. You know, learn to curb some expectations you have, because that can be unrealistic and unrealistically keeping you from the person that God has for you. And ladies, I know y'all hear this, what do they call, high value man thing. I know y'all own this because they say, talk about it all the time on Instagram and Facebook. Listen, sometimes it's a benefit to build with that man, because he'll remember that you build with. There's some outlayers that, you know, forget where they come from. But if you add value to that man's life, most definitely, if he's a God-fearing man, he will see that value, and that will make him value you even more because you were there during the tough times. And so what I'm saying is, he don't have to be a millionaire. If the man making $30,000, $40,000 a year, he's consistent, he's faithful, he don't lay out, he's at work all the time. That's some building block. And maybe with you, he can bring something out of you. So you don't need a perfect man. You just need a man that is willing to move forward and want to work with you. So with nothing else left to say, we'd like to thank you for joining us today on this podcast of cuffing season. I don't know how many parts it's going to be, because we got a lot of information. I was super chatty on this one, but this is one of my favorite topics because I really want to see people heal. I've been healthy and single for 4 years, not even really dating anybody because I didn't want to bring my mess to anybody else. I wanted to make sure that it was time in the season that God needed me to be in to become the husband that I need to be. And so there's nothing wrong with sitting still, waiting, heal, go through the process, detox, unlearn whatever that is, unlearn that unhealthy stuff. And so remember, October, which will be when y'all see this podcast, it is cuffing season. And take my advice, sat down somewhere and deal with you and date you. And so in part, we always tell y'all, peace out and be well.
So I'm back at the end of this video. This is the end of our cuffing season preparation season is what I want you to start changing that. So change cuffing season to prepping season. And so I did this to get singles some education, singles some good information to help us make wiser decisions, because this is the thing, wherever we at, whether we not in a relationship, whether we desire to be married, whether we in a relationship that's not healthy, whatever, if you're not married, this is good information for you. And even if you are married, this gives you information on how to figure out to make your marriage better, because this is the thing. We want to be not just informed, we want to be transformed. I don't know where I've heard that, but I think Darius Daniels maybe. But I want us to know that we need to be more than informed, because a lot of information makes you full of information. But anyway, we want you to change the way you are, change the way you think, because in change is only when we do the things that's right. We have to pursue, even if they baby steps. I'm telling you, develop some core values for you, not just preferences, as in looks and physical aesthetics and money. We need some core values of character. Especially, what kind of character do you want your mate to have, and what can you do to change your character to be what you desire your mate to be? Because that's where it starts. starts at home first. So you take these lessons. You know what? Sooner or later, we're going to do a class on this because I like it. I want to help people develop what they need in a mate so they can know what they're looking for. So you won't have to go through so many different red flags, because it's my belief that everybody has a red flag, which is something they need to work on. The thing about a red flag is if you don't acknowledge it, it's for you to run. If they acknowledge it and you don't never see them working towards it, it's time for you to make a decision whether you need to run or see if they'll change it. And then if they know it and they taking steps to change it, that may be something you can deal with. So look, thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Rehab Podcast. We appreciate you. We want to let you know we love you. We want to let you know that we are here for you. If you need any kind of help, please contact us at any time. Messenger, the Soul Rehab Podcast page, our personal messenger. We are willing to help. We want to add value to the people who listen. And if you want to be a guest or have a topic, do the same thing, because we want to benefit you and talk about the things that you need to hear. And we want to have these difficult conversations on air. And hey, if you feel you want to be on the pod, let me know and I'll get you up here. So with nothing else left to say, I'd like to tell you peace out and be well.